The golden rays of dawn glimmered over the kingdom of Avalor, touching its grand towers and colorful rooftops. Trumpets echoed across the palace walls as excitement buzzed in the air. After years of being trapped inside a magical amulet, Princess Elena Castillo Flores was finally free, ready to reclaim her rightful place as ruler of Avalor. Inside the palace courtyard, people gathered with banners, flowers, and music. The crowd's cheers grew louder as Elena stepped onto the royal balcony, her crimson gown sparkling in the sunlight. Her loyal friends, Naomi, Mateo, and Gabe, stood proudly beside her. The Grand Council had prepared a grand ceremony, but for Elena, this wasn't just a celebration. It was the first test of her leadership. Her grandmother, Francisca, and her grandfather, Tito, watched with teary eyes. "You've grown into a fine young woman," her grandmother whispered as Elena approached them. "But ruling a kingdom is not as easy as wearing a crown." Elena smiled nervously. She had dreamed of this day since she was little, but now that it was here, the weight of the crown felt heavier than she expected. Still, she was determined. The royal advisor, Chancellor Esteban, stepped forward. "People of Avalor," he announced dramatically, "after years of darkness, Princess Elena has returned to lead us into a new era." The crowd roared, confetti flew into the air, and the bells rang. As Elena raised her sword high, she made her first royal vow. "I promise to rule with courage, compassion, and wisdom for all the people of Avalor." But just as she finished, dark clouds began to gather over the distant mountains. The crowd gasped as thunder rumbled. Elena's hand tightened around her sword. She could feel it, something powerful, something ancient, stirring once again. Later that evening, during her first council meeting, Naomi leaned over and whispered, "You've got this, Elena. You were born to lead." But Chancellor Esteban frowned. "Leadership isn't about bravery, Princess. It's about control, order, and following protocol." Elena smiled politely, but didn't reply. Deep down, she knew leadership meant something more, something Esteban could never understand. Suddenly, Mateo, the royal wizard in training, burst into the room, his staff glowing. "Elena, there's magic in the air, dark magic." The candles flickered, the air grew cold, and from the corner of the hall a ghostly mist began to form, twisting and swirling until it shaped into a face Elena would never forget. The face of Shuriki, the evil sorceress who had once taken everything from her. Elena gasped, standing tall and firm. "You may have destroyed my past, Shuriki," she said, her voice steady, "but I won't let you threaten my kingdom again." The apparition let out a cruel laugh before vanishing into thin air, leaving behind a chilling whisper. "This is only the beginning." The council room fell silent. Everyone turned to Elena, waiting for her command, and for the first time she realized her first day as ruler was also her first battle. The night after her coronation, Elena couldn't sleep. The haunting vision of Shuriki's face kept replaying in her mind, the cruel smirk, the whisper of warning. The storm had passed, but something deep inside her heart told her that it wasn't truly over. As dawn broke over Avalor, the palace awoke to an uneasy calm. Guards patrolled the corridors with tense expressions, and even the servants spoke in hushed voices. The grand halls that once shimmered with joy now felt haunted. In the royal garden, Elena sat with Naomi, her most trusted friend. The two watched the sunrise over the ocean cliffs. "I thought defeating Shuriki would mean peace," Elena admitted softly. "But now, it feels like she's still here, watching." Naomi frowned. "Maybe it's just nerves. It's your first day ruling a kingdom, Elena. No pressure, right?" She smiled weakly, trying to lighten the mood. But Elena shook her head. "No, there's magic involved. I can feel it." Just then, Mateo came rushing toward them, his spell book clutched tightly. "Elena, you were right. I checked the magical readings in the throne room. There's residue from a shadow spell." "Shadow spell?" Naomi asked, alarmed. "It's ancient dark magic," Mateo explained. "It can't summon the dead, but it can leave traces of their spirit behind, echoes. Elena's eyes widened. So Shiriki's spirit could be trying to return? Or worse, Mateo said grimly, someone could be trying to bring her back. Determined to uncover the truth, Elena ordered a secret investigation. Naomi, search the palace records for anyone recently appointed to the staff. Mateo, scan for magical activity outside the castle walls. And Gabe, she called as the royal guard captain approached, tighten palace security. No one enters or leaves without permission. Yes, Your Majesty, Gabe replied, saluting firmly. Later that afternoon, Elena joined her grandparents in the royal library. Her grandmother looked worried. Elena, the kingdom adores you, but remember, your enemies will always test you when you're weakest. Don't face them alone. Elena nodded. I'm not alone anymore. As evening approached, a strange coldness swept through the palace corridors again. The candles flickered, and the shadows along the walls seemed to move on their own. Elena followed the eerie glow down to the hall of portraits, where generations of her family's rulers were painted. Then, a whisper. Elena. She froze. The whisper came again, her name, drawn out like a song. Slowly, she turned toward her mother's portrait. The painted eyes of the former queen seemed to shimmer with light. And then, softly, a familiar, loving voice echoed through the hall. My daughter, beware the crown. Elena gasped. Mother? But before she could take another step, the light vanished. The air fell still once again. She stumbled back, heart pounding. The crown, she whispered. Then she remembered, the crown of light, the ancient heirloom placed on her head during the coronation. Could it have been cursed? At that exact moment, Chancellor Esteban appeared behind her. Your Highness, what are you doing here alone? Elena quickly hid her fear. Just thinking. Esteban gave a tight smile. Ruling requires rest, Princess. Too much imagination can cloud judgment. As he turned away, his hand brushed over a nearby table, and Elena noticed something glimmering under his sleeve, a rune-shaped amulet, faintly glowing with dark magic. Her breath caught. She said nothing, but in that instant one truth became clear. The shadow haunting Avalor might already be inside her palace. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the palace windows, but Elena felt no warmth from it. The image of Esteban's glowing amulet and her mother's warning, beware the crown, wouldn't leave her mind. Her first full day as Queen of Avalor had begun, yet doubt clouded her heart. As the royal council gathered, Elena sat on the golden throne trying to focus. Ministers spoke of trade routes and royal celebrations, but her attention drifted to the crown on her head. It pulsed faintly, almost as if it were alive. Chancellor Esteban's calm voice echoed through the hall. Your Majesty, perhaps a parade would remind the people that Avalor stands united under your rule. Elena nodded slowly. Yes, but before we celebrate, we must make sure Avalor is safe. Esteban raised an eyebrow. Safe? Is something troubling you? Just a feeling, she said softly. Something isn't right. His polite smile didn't reach his eyes. Then I trust you'll let me handle it. That is, after all, my duty. Later that evening, unable to shake her unease, Elena found Mateo in his study. I need you to examine my crown, she said urgently. Something's wrong with it. Mateo looked alarmed. Your crown? Elena, that's one of the oldest relics in the kingdom. I know, but my mother's spirit warned me about it. Please, check it. In the royal workshop, Mateo placed the crown on a glowing crystal table. As he murmured a spell, golden light surrounded it, then darkened into swirling purple. The crystal cracked. Elena, he gasped, it's cursed! Before they could react, a chilling whisper filled the air. The rightful ruler must pay for the stolen throne. Elena's blood ran cold. That voice, it's tied to the crown. Mateo's eyes widened. This isn't Shiriki's magic. It's newer. Someone here, in the palace, cast this. Suddenly, footsteps echoed. Esteban's voice rang from outside. He calm and sharp. Princess Elena? Are you in there? Elena quickly hid the crown behind a tapestry. "Yes, Chancellor, just studying," she called. He stepped inside, his tone smooth. "Be careful, my dear. Power can be dangerous in the wrong hands." His words sent a chill down her spine. As soon as he left, Mateo whispered, "He knows something. We have to find proof." That night, under the cover of darkness, Elena, Mateo, and Naomi slipped into Esteban's private quarters. The room smelled of ink and candle wax. Scrolls and maps lined the walls, but one drawer, sealed with a magical rune, caught Elena's eye. Mateo murmured a spell, and with a flicker of blue light, it unlocked. Inside were letters stamped with a serpent emblem, the mark of ancient dark mages, and one half-burned note. "The power of the amulet has faded, but the curse remains. She will never rule in peace, not while the shadow crown binds her soul." "The shadow crown," Naomi whispered. "That's your crown, Elena." Before they could react, the room darkened. A blast of purple light exploded near the doorway, and Esteban stepped from the shadows, eyes glowing faintly. "I warned you not to meddle," he said coldly. "You have no idea what you're dealing with." "Then tell me the truth," Elena demanded. "Why are you using dark magic?" For a moment, Esteban's voice softened. "Because it's the only power that can protect Avalor, even if it must protect it from you." With a burst of magic, he vanished into the darkness, leaving the room in chaos. Elena stood clutching the cursed crown, her voice steady. "He's not protecting Avalor. He's hiding something far worse." And as thunder cracked over the palace, she knew her first true test as queen had begun. Rain poured over Avalor as the night deepened. Lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the palace towers like fleeting ghosts. Inside her chambers, Queen Elena stood by the window, the shadow crown resting on her desk. Its jewels shimmered faintly, as if alive. She couldn't stop thinking about Esteban's words. "It's the only power that can protect Avalor, even from you." What did he mean? Why would her own uncle think she was a threat to the kingdom? Naomi entered quietly, carrying a lantern. "You haven't slept again, have you?" Elena turned. "How could I? Esteban's using dark magic, and I don't even know why. I can't protect Avalor until I understand what really happened in our past." Naomi nodded. "Then we start there." Together, they went to the royal archives, a massive underground hall where centuries of history were stored. Dusty scrolls, old tomes, and royal records filled the endless shelves. Mateo was already there, waiting beside a glowing crystal lamp. "I've been digging into Esteban's past," Mateo said, his face grim. "And I found something." He unrolled an ancient parchment. "This letter is from the day Shuriki attacked Avalor. It's signed by Esteban himself." Elena's heart pounded. "What does it say?" Mateo hesitated. "It says, he helped Shuriki enter the palace." "What?" Naomi gasped. Elena's eyes filled with shock. "That can't be true. He would never—" But there it was, in Esteban's handwriting. "I allowed her entry, believing she could protect Avalor with her power. I was wrong. May the gods forgive me." Elena sank onto a bench, trembling. "He betrayed us, all of us, and because of him, my parents—" Her voice broke. Mateo placed a hand on her shoulder. "He may have thought he was doing the right thing, but he's carried this guilt ever since. Maybe the curse is part of his punishment." Before Elena could reply, a sudden tremor shook the ground. Dust fell from the ceiling, and the torches flickered out. The air grew colder. "Elena!" Naomi cried. "Something's happening!" A dark mist seeped through the cracks in the stone floor, swirling and twisting until it took shape, a shadowy form with glowing purple eyes. "Welcome back, my queen," hissed a familiar voice. Elena's heart stopped. Shuriki. She raised her sword, but the shadow only laughed. "You think your crown belongs to you? Foolish girl. The crown you wear binds you to me." "The curse," Mateo whispered. "It's her. Her spirit's bound to the crown." Elena's voice was steady, though her hands shook. You lost your power once, Shiriki. You'll lose again. Shiriki's form flared with dark fire. You can't destroy what's already part of you. And with that, the shadow exploded into a wave of energy, knocking them to the ground. When the smoke cleared, the crown was gone. "Elena!" Naomi shouted, searching the floor. But before they could find it, a guard ran in, panicked. "Your Majesty, the Chancellor! He's gone! He fled the palace!" Elena rose slowly, eyes burning with resolve. "He's running to her," she said, "to finish what he started." Thunder roared outside as she sheathed her sword. "Then we're going after him. No more secrets. No more running. Avalor deserves the truth." Mateo looked at her with worry. "Elena, if Esteban and Shiriki are working together again, we may be facing something far stronger than before." Elena's voice hardened. "Then we'll fight stronger. This time Avalor won't fall." As they prepared to leave, the rain outside turned into a storm of lightning, a sign that dark magic had awakened once more. And in the distance, far beyond the palace walls, a faint purple glow rose from the mountains, signaling that Shiriki's power had returned. The storm over Avalor raged through the night, thunder shaking the castle walls, as if the heavens themselves were warning of what was to come. Elena, Naomi, and Mateo gathered in the royal strategy room, maps and magical scrolls spread across the table. "Esteban is heading north," Mateo said, tracing a glowing finger over the parchment. "If my readings are right, he's going to the ruins of Maru, the place where Shiriki first gained her power." Elena's eyes narrowed. "Then that's where we'll find him." Naomi frowned. "Elena, it's too dangerous. The ruins are protected by ancient spells. Even the bravest explorers don't return." Elena tightened her grip on her sword. "I won't sit in this palace while dark magic threatens my kingdom again. Esteban is family. But if he's helping Shiriki, I have to stop him." Mateo nodded, determination in his eyes. "Then we go together. But we'll need protection." He opened his spellbook, chanting softly. Light filled the room, and 3 glowing orbs appeared. "These will shield us from dark magic for a short time," he said. "After that, we're on our own." At dawn, the trio set out on horseback. The rain had stopped, but the land felt uneasy, birds silent, air thick with the scent of storm. As they crossed the Avalor plains, Elena gazed at the horizon, where faint purple lightning flickered above the mountains. "Do you ever wonder," she said quietly, "if being queen means always walking into danger?" Naomi smiled sadly. "Maybe, but it also means never walking alone." Hours later, they reached the Whispering Woods, a dark forest filled with mist. Strange whispers echoed between the trees, voices that weren't quite human. "Elena!" one voice murmured. She froze. "Did you hear that?" Mateo's staff glowed brighter. "It's the spirits of the forest. They're drawn to the crown's energy." Suddenly shadows lunged from the fog, spectral figures with glowing eyes. Naomi drew her sword, while Mateo raised his staff. "Get behind me!" he shouted. A barrier of light burst outward, scattering the ghosts. But as the last spirit faded, one remained, not hostile, but sorrowful. It was a woman's figure, faint and gentle. "Elena?" Elena's breath caught. "Mother?" The spirit smiled softly. "You are brave, my daughter, but beware the choice ahead. The crown's curse can only be broken by sacrifice." "Sacrifice?" Elena whispered. "What do you mean?" But before she could ask more, the spirit vanished into mist. Mateo looked shaken. "Elena, whatever this curse is, it's tied to you. Breaking it might cost more than you think." Elena turned toward the mountains, resolve in her eyes. "Then I'll pay that price if I must. My kingdom comes first." By sunset, they reached the cliffs overlooking the ruins of Maru. The ancient towers were half buried in vines, glowing faintly with violet energy. At the center stood Esteban, his cloak whipping in the wind, the shadow crown in his hands. "Esteban!" Elena called out. Her voice echoed across the ruins. He turned slowly, his eyes glowing with sorrow and power. You shouldn't have come, Elena. You stole the crown. You cursed our family. Why? Esteban's voice cracked. Because I was trying to save it. Shiriki promised she could undo what she'd done, bring back those we lost, but she needs you to finish the spell. Elena's heart pounded. You made a deal with her again? Thunder boomed as purple lightning struck the ruins, and from the shadows behind Esteban, a familiar figure began to rise, her laughter echoing through the storm. Shiriki was returning. Elena drew her sword, fire in her eyes. Then this ends tonight. A bolt of purple lightning struck the ancient ruins, shaking the earth beneath Elena's feet. The air crackled with dark energy as Shiriki's laughter echoed through the storm. From the shadows, her form emerged, ghostly at first, then solid, cloaked in swirling smoke. Her eyes gleamed with cruel delight. "Well, well," she sneered. "If it isn't the brave little Queen of Avalor, you look so much like your mother, right before she begged for mercy." Elena's grip tightened on her sword, anger flashing in her eyes. "You'll regret ever setting foot in my kingdom again." Shiriki chuckled. "Oh, Elena, you never learn. I don't need to take your kingdom this time. You're going to give it to me, willingly." Esteban stood between them, torn by guilt and fear. "Shiriki, you promised no one would get hurt." She turned to him, her smile fading. "I promised you power, but power always comes with a price." Her hand rose, and the amulet around Esteban's neck glowed violently. He cried out as energy surged through him. Elena ran forward, shouting, "Stop it!" But Shiriki flicked her wrist, sending a wave of dark magic that threw Elena backward. Mateo raised his staff, summoning a sphere of golden light. "Stay behind me!" he yelled. The light struck Shiriki, forcing her to step back with a hiss. "You dare challenge me again, wizard?" she spat. "Your magic is nothing compared to mine." Naomi charged with her sword, slashing at the swirling mist around Shiriki, but the sorceress disappeared and reappeared behind her, laughing. "Foolish mortals!" Elena got back to her feet, her crown glowing faintly even from a distance. Shiriki's eyes flicked toward it. "Ah, my shadow crown. You don't even know what it can do, do you?" Elena stood tall. "I don't need to. I know what I can do." "Then let's see!" Shiriki shouted. Their magic clashed, and the violet and gold flames colliding mid-air. Ruins shook, pillars cracked, and the ground split beneath them. "Elena!" Mateo shouted. "The crown! It's reacting to your energy!" Elena felt it too, a burning sensation at her temples, a whisper in her mind. "Use me, and I will destroy her." "No," she whispered. "I won't become what she is." Shiriki laughed. "You can't win without me, Elena. Accept the crown's power, or watch your friends fall." Naomi stumbled, her sword knocked from her hand by a burst of magic. Mateo's staff dimmed, his strength fading. Shiriki raised her hand, energy building for a final strike. In that moment, Elena closed her eyes. Courage, compassion, wisdom. Her father's words echoed in her heart. She reached for the light within her, not the crown's, but her own. When she opened her eyes, they blazed with golden fire. "You'll never control me, Shiriki." She raised her sword, channeling her pure energy through it. The blade erupted with light. As Shiriki unleashed her dark spell, Elena met it head-on, light and shadow colliding in a thunderous explosion. For a heartbeat, all was silent. Then a scream. Shiriki's echoed through the ruins. Her body began to fracture like glass. "This isn't over," she shrieked. "You'll never be free of me." With one last burst of energy, Shiriki vanished, leaving only a fading echo and the faint hum of the shadow crown, now lying still upon the cracked stone floor. Esteban collapsed to his knees, the glow fading from his amulet. His eyes were full of tears. "Elena, I didn't mean for this to happen." Elena picked up the crown, her voice trembling. "I know, Uncle, but this curse, it's not just Shiriki's anymore. It's mine now." The wind howled around them as lightning flashed once more, revealing a truth Elena didn't want to face. The battle was won, but the darkness still lived inside her. The storm over Avalor had finally begun to fade, but the air still shimmered with the echo of dark magic. The once glorious ruins of Maru now lay in silence, stone pillars cracked, dust swirling through the dawn light. Elena stood at the center of it all, holding the shadow crown in her hands. It pulsed faintly, its dark energy whispering to her like a living thing. Naomi and Mateo stood behind her, exhausted but alive. Esteban sat slumped on a broken column, guilt etched into his face. "Elena," Naomi said softly, "we have to destroy it, before it takes you too." Elena nodded slowly. "I know, but destroying it won't be easy. The crown is bound to my family's blood, and to me." Mateo opened his spellbook, flipping through the ancient pages. "There's a ritual," he murmured, "a purification spell that could break the bond, but it requires a willing sacrifice. The crown's power has to be drawn out by someone who holds royal blood." Naomi's eyes widened. "No, Elena, that means—" Elena met her gaze, calm and resolute. "It means me." Mateo shook his head fiercely. "There has to be another way." Elena smiled sadly. "There isn't. My mother warned me. The curse could only be broken by sacrifice. She knew this moment would come." As dawn broke over the mountains, the golden light touched her face. She turned to Esteban, who couldn't meet her eyes. "Uncle, you once betrayed this kingdom, but now you can help me save it." He looked up, tears in his eyes. "Tell me what to do." Elena placed the crown in his trembling hands. "When the light surrounds me, you must cast it into the river of souls. Don't hesitate, no matter what happens." Naomi stepped forward, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Elena, please. You're not just our queen, you're our friend." Elena hugged her tightly. "And I always will be. Remember what I said when I took the throne? A true ruler's hurt shines brightest in darkness." She stepped into the center of the ruins, closing her eyes as Mateo began chanting the ancient incantation. The air shimmered, and the symbols on the stone floor glowed gold. The crown's shadowy aura began to rise, swirling around Elena like a storm. "Elena!" Naomi shouted over the wind. Elena's voice was calm, though her body trembled with pain. "Tell my people. I did this for them." The light grew blinding. The crown screamed, a sound like the wail of 1,000 trapped souls. Esteban held it high, tears falling freely, and hurled it into the glowing river below. The moment it touched the water, a brilliant flash filled the ruins. The dark energy burst apart, scattering into golden sparks that floated gently into the sky. When the light faded, Elena was gone. Only her crown, her true crown, the one of light, remained on the stone, glowing softly. Naomi fell to her knees, whispering through tears, "She saved us." Mateo placed a hand over his heart. "No, she still is with us, in every sunrise, in every song of Avalor." Back in the capital, the bells of the palace rang as the storm clouds cleared. The sun shone brighter than ever before. From the heavens, a warm wind swept across the land, carrying Elena's voice, faint but full of peace. "Avalor will always shine, as long as you believe." And as Naomi lifted the golden crown, she smiled through her tears. "Long live Queen Elena,